For a number of years now, there has been a ton of debate over bands playing the tracks during their live performances, with some fans accepting it and being cool with it, and others being 100% opposed to it. I guess I probably followed somewhere in the middle. But the issue has only ramped up in recent weeks and over the last couple of months, with the controversy surrounding Falling in Reverse canceling a show due to their laptops going missing, a German metal fest called No Playback Festival, which promises that none of the artists playing will use any tracks whatsoever, and the longtime issue of whether or not Kiss's Paul Stanley uses any tracks live. So today, we're going to take a look at some of these things and discuss the reaction from both the fans as well as from other bands. In a brand new interview, longtime Kiss manager Doc McGee was asked by a guy who goes by Synch Stanley, who I guess has a YouTube channel where he exposes bands for singing the tracks, when Paul Stanley is going to admit that he is in fact singing to a track. Here's the clip.
Doc, when's Paul going to admit that he lip syncs?
He sings every track, so he sings to it. So it's not lip syncing. He sings. He fully sings.
Okay.
It's enhanced. It's just part of the process to make sure that everybody hears the songs the way they should be sang to begin with. So, nobody wants to hear people do stuff that's not real. It's not what they came to hear.
So you're actually saying there are backing tracks that he's singing to?
He'll sing to tracks.
Gotcha.
Yeah, everybody. It's all part of a process. Because everybody wants to hear everybody sing.
Awesome.
He sings, but he fully sings to every song.
This is most certainly not Kiss's first time being called out for this, as the speculation has been growing rapidly since the start of their End of the Road tour in 2019, which is definitely not a farewell tour. And in a show last summer in Belgium, drummer Eric Singer messed up the timing in Detroit Rock City, which exposed Paul's vocal track with him not singing into the mic. Check it out. To be fair, as Doc mentioned, Paul is still indeed singing, but is using tracks, I would imagine, to assist with some notes that he might not be able to hit anymore. Now, typically, I would understand this sort of thing, and I really wouldn't take too much issue with it. But if we use Gene Simmons' logic, the band should be more upfront about it, because back in 2015, he had this to say. I have a problem when you charge $100 to see a live show and the artist uses backing tracks. It's like the ingredients in food. If the first ingredient on the label is sugar, that's at least honest. It should be on every ticket. You're paying $100, 30 to 50% of the show is backing tracks, and they'll sing sometimes they'll lip sync. At least be honest. It's not about backing tracks, it's about dishonesty. There's nobody with the synthesizer on our stage. There's no samples on the drums, there's nothing. There's very few bands who do that now. AC/DC, Metallica, us. I can't even say that about U2 or the Stones. There's very few bands who don't use tracks. Obviously, though, a vast majority of people flat out don't care, or maybe they don't even know, as this End of the Road tour has been going on for nearly 4 years now with no end in sight. As of right now, the band has dates booked into the summer, and I'm sure more will be coming soon. Two-time tour mate Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue takes issue with this, though, when he put out a tweet back in 2019 that read, quote, "Certain band out on the road right now putting other bands down and saying that they are a real rock band, no background singers, and their old people cranky comments, except his lead vocals are on tape. People in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks. Hashtag get off my lawn, hashtag Wizard of Oz." Now, he of course didn't call anyone out by name, but we can all assume that he was referring to Kiss. Legendary singer Joe Lynn Turner of Rainbow and Deep Purple also criticized the band, saying, quote, "I understand there's a technology that certain bands use today, but if you're Kiss, for example, maybe you ought to quit while you're ahead, guys. Don't you think you've got enough money to where you don't need to take all the static for doing what you're doing? All it's doing is destroying your legacy, and you'd probably be better off if you just stopped. I'm not trying to point them out individually, but they've been known to use it. Some other notable musicians have come to the band's defense over the years, though, with Sebastian Bach praising Paul's live performance and noting that he has seen far more obvious uses of tracks. That being said, what Sebastian Bach does take issue with, though, is a band canceling a performance due to losing their laptops. I am, of course, referring to Falling in Reverse, who famously canceled their performance last September at Will Rockfest when their laptops had been misplaced. Falling in Reverse frontman Ronnie Radke issued a statement when the news broke, stating that as a band in 2022, you need your laptops, comparing the situation to driving a car without an engine. This, of course, sent radio personality and former That Metal Show host Eddie Trunk into an absolute tizzy, as he has long been extremely opposed to the use of tracks, and he issued a statement online opposing the band and the incident. Eventually, Sebastian Bach jumped in and got into a full-on war of words with Ronnie Radke, culminating with Bach essentially challenging Ronnie to a fight. This sounds very familiar.
And right now, I want to put an end to this, and what I want is, Axel, if you're watching this, I want to challenge you to a fight. I'm going to give you the time, and I'm going to give you the place, and there's no backing out now, buddy, and it's time to put up or shut up.
Anyways, we can get into the specifics of the feud another time, but it ended up dying out eventually. But then last week, Falling in Reverse released a video for their song Watch the World Burn, and look, I gotta hand it to them. It's one of the most memorable videos I've seen in a very long time, and it's a pretty cool song too. In the video, a laptop falls from the sky, hitting a Sebastian Bach look-alike in the head. Say what you will, but in my opinion, comedy gold. For the record, though, I am a massive Bach fan. Big fan. But listen, I understand 100% the argument that Eddie and Bach were making. Are you really a band if you have to cancel a show due to your laptops missing? And I would agree with that, to a certain extent. If you're Skid Row, AC/DC, Jackal, who replaced Falling in Reverse on that festival, 100% those bands do not need any digital supplements, nor do they use them. However, for better or for worse, we do not live in the age of those bands anymore. Have you heard Falling in Reverse? A very heavy electronic element to that band. And same with most current active rock bands. Turn on SiriusXM Octane. Go to Spotify's Rock Hard playlist. A vast majority of those bands use those kind of elements that are a very key part to the music, and the songs would not translate very well in a live setting without them. Much like us fans of older bands have come to expect a certain quality and level of authenticity, which is why the debate of such bands as Kiss using tracks even exists, the modern era rock fans of whoever it is have come to expect the same thing. And that's a very similar version to what we hear on the studio recording. In my opinion, comparing situations such as this Falling in Reverse deal to Kiss using tracks, they're two totally separate things. You're comparing apples to oranges. Falling in Reverse makes their music with those elements. It's an integral part of their sound. 100% necessary. Kiss, yes, it's unfortunate to a certain degree that they are using tracks, but let's be real. Paul Stanley just turned 71 a couple of weeks ago. Could you be out there performing as good as he does at his age? Absolutely the fuck not. You could call them cash grabby, and let's face it, we are talking about Kiss here. So yes, they do have the option to call it quits and go out on top, so to speak. But you also have the option to not buy a ticket. It's the same thing with this festival in Germany called No Playback Festival, which I guess has actually been going on for a couple of years now, but it didn't really come to prominence until just recently in light of all this backtrack discussion. The lineup caters to old school metal fans, with this edition's lineup including acts such as Ross the Boss from Manowar, Raven, Vicious Rumors, and a ton of others in that world. The translated description on their website reads, quote, The real live experience, international top bands from the rock and metal scene who still embody the spirit of rock and roll. That's what the No Playback Festival stands for. Here, fans and musicians are still a unit and not separated by barriers or ditches, and certainly not by Golden Circle VIP only areas and such crap. The experience is correspondingly intense. I think it's a cool idea with some cool bands, but honestly, billing it as a festival without backtracks, it just feels a little unnecessary and get off my lawn-ish. And in my opinion, the anti-VIP stance feels far more noteworthy to me, with the festival wanting an equal opportunity for all, regardless of your bank account. Good for them, though, for standing up what they believe in. I'm sure it'll be a great time. All right, though, I gotta run. My fiance is waiting to sink her lips onto me, so I gotta go. But thanks so much for watching. Let me know your stance on bands using tracks. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time.